also have work, it's a concern, but it doesn't seem to be such a barrier as it is in the UK.
Okay. Yeah, it's interesting. We as I was mentioning, we're doing some interviews with folks in broader business, and then we've been doing some with security, information security vendor companies, and some with academics like yourself, and we're kind of seeing this relationship. Not 100% on this yet, but there's one of our hypotheses is that your enterprise company, if you're a bank or you're a retailer or something like that, they tend to rely more on their solution partners, the security vendors for thought leadership. They go to them. As we're talking to some of those vendors, though, where are they getting their influences? Some of them, maybe not all, but some of them turn to academia as well. They have partnerships, or they look to what's going on there to help inform what they should be thinking about for the future. So, maybe not on all security topics, but we do feel like it seems to be emerging that there could be a chain where, in some cases, hey, what's getting researched and written about in academia, there's a relationship between there and some of the vendors, and then that kind of trickles down to the broader business population as a whole.
If I could maybe add a comment to that, I think you jogged a memory in my mind, which I think is relevant, which is particularly with businesses, I would say the financial institutions and many, many things in the commercial world. We have tried to do projects with them in terms of information security with the university. The problem there, though, is that for an academic to have a route to promotion, it requires publications. And this sort of stuff to do with information security, we need case studies for. And those financial institutions do not want to give case studies that would end up in publications. So that ends a problem. The electrical utilities are interesting in that in some cases they have a duty of disclosure. So one way or another the data would end up being in the public domain. So I guess they kind of take the attitude of, well, it's going to be in the public domain one way or another. There's no harm in having a project with the university.
Right. No, that's interesting. There's been an element of that throughout these interviews too, that sometimes there's very advanced things happening in security, but the broader world doesn't find out for a decade or more because it couldn't be talked about.
Yeah. No, it's a very, very big problem.
Yeah. So there might be some real thought leadership happening, but it's not going to make it anywhere. It's a trade secret or IP. So no, that's a good one. That's interesting, the contrast between, say, banking versus the utilities that you're describing there. I'm curious. So when you're looking at, again, the information, thought leadership for information security, do you tend to focus more on software aspects of that, hardware aspects? What tends or both? What tends to be important for you between hardware and software? Is there a place you focus more or less?
That's an interesting question, actually, because I guess both of them are really, really big concerns. Within industrial control systems, I guess the issue for me is really which of them is actually in a more precarious state. The software in a lot of the devices that are out there is really not great, and certainly investment in better software is there will be a lot of benefit from that. But at the same time, the hardware that software will be running on, a lot of it is really, really vintage equipment compared to what you would be working on in other domains.